to attract a whole new market.
The voice of a gaming
generation.
The competition in this industry is so fierce, but we did manage to get a glimpse into the future.
Real gaming opinions.
The obvious question is, of course, how long will this smashing success last for video games?
The last line of defense in major gaming news.
The GameZilla Podcast.
Look, there comes one of them now.
GameZilla Podcast, your last line of defense in major gaming news. I'm your host, Grim, and with me remotely, Player One Miggy and the Butter Boy. How's it going, guys?
Good. Yeah, phenomenal. Nothing blew up this week.
I think it's important. I think it's
So far, so
important
good.
for people watching us at twitch.tv/GameZilla Media to note over my shoulder, they may see what they think is a traditional celebratory Christmas tree. It is, in fact, not that. I have been hard at work getting my property sanctioned as an arboretum, and it's important that I have one more tree, so that is a real tree growing in the front room of my home. And soon I'll have that sweet, sweet government arboretum money that I'll be able to buy video games with.
So you're saying that's not a celibate Christmas tree?
It is not.
Ah, okay.
Wow.
It is, in fact, a real tree that is breeding with other trees.
Ah,
Circle of Life, Arboretum. I'm going to get paid. That's all you guys need to know. Video game show. What's up? Grim, how are you?
I clearly am doing it wrong. I'm over here crypto mining with my graphics cards, and clearly I just need to be growing trees inside my house.
It's part of the Green New Deal. Yeah, you can make a lot of money depending on what kind of trees you grow in your house. I'm not going there. I'm just trying to get that arboretum money from the government.
Okay, well, welcome to episode 343 of High Times Podcast. I mean, GameZilla Podcast, your elite free DLC for all your gaming news, brought to you by our patrons.
Yeah, we appreciate immensely the supporters we have at patreon.com/GameZilla Media. If you're listening to this show right now, watching us on Twitch right now, please consider joining our patrons. Starting as low as just $1 per month, you'll have access to some cool exclusive perks. And then at the exclusive content level, that's a $5 a month contribution that gives you access to shows not available anywhere else on the internet, only patreon.com/GameZilla Media. And every show that's part of the GameZilla Media Network contributes at least one bonus show there per month. My bad.
Per
month.
month.
Is actually a 28-day calendar. Like if we switch to where every month was February, it'd be a month. They drop the H because it actually takes the last couple days.
You can pay per month or per moth, depending on how many moths you have in the area.
Not moths. They freak me out. And listen, you're not restricted to just blessing us with $5 or $1 per month. You could give us $10 or more if you are just the nicest person that I could possibly know, and you will get a personal message of love from me. That's what you get.
Only Butterboy. Only Butterboy.
You get a buttery message of love. So please join us, patreon.com/GameZilla Media, and help us continue to create these very fun podcasts for you.
Who knows, if you support us enough on Patreon, maybe he sends you a nudie. I don't know. No promises, just saying he's been known to do it from time to time.
It'll be tasteful. No dong, just butt cheeks.
that's what I was gonna say. What tier for that butter boy on the bearskin rug?
Yeah, it'll be just me. I'll recreate the copper tone, like there'll be a little dog pulling out a bathing suit kind of thing.
I'm going to steal a joke that keeps happening in my channel. What's it going to take our Patreon level to get to for you to launch an OnlyFans account?
They're asking you. It's your channel.
No, I know, but I want to know for you. Like, I don't have a Patreon, so we're shifting gears. Now we're talking GameZilla OnlyFans, completely focusing just on the butt cheeks of Butterboy.
Yeah, they're supple butt cheeks. I mean, I don't know. I have too much respect for other OnlyFans content creators. I wouldn't want to run them out of business with bringing this sweet ass to the platform. It just wouldn't be fair. They wouldn't. Okay. No one's on my level when it comes to butt cheeks.
I mean, you could take the Belle Delphine route and just like troll the titles and just like find different ways to take pictures of different brands of butter, different molds of butter, different types of butter.
Yeah, really you want some butter? Yeah, you got it. I want to give the people what they want, but I don't want to ruin the platform for everyone else that needs it.
Oh my
so.
God. Anyways, we are a video game podcast. Thanks again to all of our patrons. We do have a good show for you today about video games. I promise you. Before we do that, though, let's just remind everybody, if you can't stay for the entire show live on twitch.tv/GameZilla Media, then please make sure you watch the VOD. Check us out on YouTube. Listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Google Podcasts, wherever it is that you listen to podcasts, just search GameZilla Media. You will find all the shows that we create every week, all focused around video games and other great entertainment. So, without further ado, let's get into the news, and we're giving it back to Butterboy still. He did a good job last week, so here's the news!
It's time to do the news. I'm basically tone deaf. I'm sorry, everybody.
The good news is that your mic works now.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. 2021, your mic works.
Hey.
So
I actually we got in a fist fight with someone that worked in my ISP, and now they got their stuff together, and they'll make sure I get premium internet for the right price.
Perfect. Topic number 1, Butterboy's mic works. Topic number 2, but the real topic number 1, are we consuming too much screen time with a primary focus around the kids? New York Times is worried that kids are playing video games too much during the pandemic. So yesterday they ran a story focused on how kids are spending way too much time playing video games and using their phones during the COVID-19 pandemic. Today the story was on the front page of the paper. This seems strange considering how the world is falling apart and the democracy is dying in front of our eyes. But yeah, sure, let's consider what kids might be playing too much Roblox. The article, which originally ran on January 16th, quoted some experts that presented a lot of scary numbers about screen time. But it also glossed over the fact that video games and the internet have helped many people, kids and adults, stay connected and sane during this terrible time. So, basically, if you haven't been following this whole concept in the past, before COVID, we would always worry about things like kids and screen time and having to limit them because it's bad for their development and all this stuff. But Now we want to write articles about how it's even worse now, and even though it's their only outlet to communicate with their friends, and it's their only way to actually do things with family members and friends, that we should be worried and definitely limiting them even more so than before. I have a hard time with this article because before. Me sitting there and looking at someone and saying, hey, you know what? Get outside and go enjoy life and go do things. Made a lot of sense to me. Nowadays, I'm like terrified to go outside and I stay inside and I talk to people from around the world on a screen, and it's great because I haven't gone insane from being, stuck inside my house for a year. This article continues to go on about basically it was bookended by a random small family that is currently struggling during the pandemic. Their son plays a lot of video games as a way to connect with their friends. His father and mother are concerned about how much time he spends in front of the screen, but also know it's one of the few ways that he has to safely socialize while COVID-19 runs wild across the world. This is a hard situation. Many parents around the globe are going through right now, but highlighting only kids and how much screen time they are using ignores that all of us, not just children and teens, are dealing with increased screen time and a lack of real human interaction. Instead, the article goes on and on about how potentially unhealthy and dangerous all this screen time could be for kids and how kids need to disconnect more and how kids are playing too much. They literally focused on this, how kids are playing too much Roblox. So, what do you? I don't know. Let's just go to our butter boy here. Child at heart. What do you feel about this? I mean, you're somebody that I think in the past would have agreed with the concept of like limiting screen time. You definitely were someone that lived that way. How has pandemic affected you, and how do you feel about this article?
Yeah, I've definitely been outspoken in the past, not only for like children, like get your kids some action figures or dolls or whatever, have them use their imagination, have them play with the ball outside. Again, as someone who's not a parent, I've still been very pro, like kids should do that. I want kids to experience some of what I experienced as a youth, and seeing the way kids are tied into tablets and phones and stuff. It's different than the way we played Game Boy when we were a kid. It's just not the same thing. But I mean, we're dealing with different circumstances here. We're all locked up. And I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, it's not like you can send the kids out to go find the other kids in the neighborhood and go play soccer. Like that's not an option. It's not safe to do that right now. And there is very serious concerns about the way children are developing socially here during the pandemic. So having the ability to game with their friends is something that probably in some way gives a hint of normalcy and a bit of healthiness to it. But we also have a countless number of children that spend their entire day of schooling looking at a computer. So if they go from playing a computer, on a computer trying to learn for the majority of the day to gaming for a while, and then probably back to doing computer homework, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a child psychologist. I know that could probably have a negative effect on a kid. And I know for me as an adult, when there's days that I work all day and then all I do is either game or stream shows or movies all night, it does sort of affect me. I try to go out and go for a walk. I try throwing a yo-yo for a little bit. I try going out, especially when it's warmer, playing disc golf. Like trying to do some things away from a screen was good for my mental health. So it has to be good for a kid's mental health. But we're really limited. And I don't have the right answers to say what is healthy and what isn't healthy. But I am pretty strong in confidence in saying that all day, every day on screens for an entire year is probably not the best thing for a kid. I don't have alternative answers for you. And for adults, I would say try to find a hobby that doesn't involve a screen and try to make time for it. I know it's hard as an adult. I encourage you to try and take that step for yourself.
I mean, I have an answer for you. It's called, if this article is really focusing on kids, then the parents need to act. Like, are you having meals with your kid? Shut the screens off and have a meal and have a conversation and talk about something during lunch and dinner and whatever. Like you said, go on a short walk. You have a backyard, use the backyard. I don't like, do you know what Legos are? Build Legos. I don't know. Like there's plenty of things, to sit there and enjoy building puzzles together. I don't care. But at the same time, to sit here and blame and sit here and point at video games as a negative, giving it a negative sense is really just unfortunate in the sense of like how much technology has helped us during this time. So to look at things from a kid's standpoint, it is not the kid's fault. They didn't ask to stare at a screen for 6-8 hours to go to school. They didn't ask for that. So they shouldn't be penalized when they want to play Fortnite afterwards, or they want to play video games afterwards. Like that's the whole thing that like is very tough. Is that if you're leveraging the fact that they're just on screen a bunch more and half of it's school, that doesn't mean you take away their games, because then now they're being penalized for it, for doing nothing wrong.
But I know,
and you worry about mentally messing a kid up. That doesn't help either, because now they feel like that something's being taken away from them for something that they can't control.
Yeah, but one of the things you have to think about too, it depends on the age group of the kid, their comprehension and whatnot. I mean, you go from leaving the house, moving around like every day, like going, you're walking through, kids are walking through the halls. They're going from classroom here. They have recess. They're constantly moving around, and then coming home, doing homework, and then plopping down in front of the TV with some Fortnite or Call of Duty or whatever. Now it's just sitting all day in front of the computer. All right, lunchtime here, maybe here where they're sitting game, and then like more school. And then, back in front of more game and to get more gaming in. I mean, that's kind of like one thing to keep in mind, like as a parent, like, my child is not as active as he or she used to be. So, you have to like create some activities to get them moving, not to say completely take gaming away from them, but just let them know that that we have to do some activities together. Don't just send them, okay, go outside, run around. No, do some activities together where you're outside playing around, tossing the ball, and then allow them with some game and screen time. It's all adjustment that we have to do, and I know it might suck for the kid, that they're getting less time to game or whatever, but in the end, you're growing with your child, you're learning, you're getting inside their head because you're interacting with them, finding out how they feel about everything that's going on, and what you need to look out for. But it's just an evolution. And no, I'm not saying that gaming is a problem. It's just we have to adjust, to everything. I mean, adults,
right, which is, again, like I brought up the idea of Legos and building puzzles and stuff. You talk about throwing a ball outside, as long as you don't live in the state that we're in right now. You're probably not doing a whole lot outside unless because it's cold and we don't have snow, so you really can't do anything because it's just nasty out. But getting outside and being able to spend time with your kid, you're gonna maybe you need to look at this as an opportunity to be able to build a relationship better than you ever could with your child, because you do have more time with them than you ever did before. So you have to look at this. It's your choice to look at this as a half full, half empty, glass situation. And yeah, the COVID-19 and the scary things of and the fear around it is what it is. But how do you make the best of it? And so screen time and what I've done with it, I've made the best of it, more so than I think I ever expected to. I don't have any kids though, but I can. But obviously, Jade, my wife, and I have kids that are in the family that we are keeping track of as far as how are they doing? We're reaching out to their parents. What can we do? What do they need? Can we send you some board games so you guys can be more have family nights and things like that? How what do they need? What are they struggling with and things like that? And so we have younger kids that are in school. Some of them are doing fine with this whole digital world. Some of them have gone back to school because they literally couldn't do the whole digital side of it. It just wasn't working for them. And that whole balance I talk about is you just make sure you're not penalizing your child because of the overall concern of screen time. I think the word screen time and when it comes to kids is really just blown up and turned into such a scare tactic for parenting that most people just assume it's bad and they don't do the research and they just go, all right, cool. Well, fortunately you stared at your screen all day because of school, and I don't want you staring at your screen all night, playing games. So let's, go read a book, and so then you're not only is your kid, not only are you punishing, it feels like you're punishing your child, but then the things that maybe they would have ended up enjoying, not saying everyone likes to read, but maybe they end up resenting something that they shouldn't because it's literally been forced upon them. I mean, how many people I know I could raise my hand here. How many people had something forced upon them growing up that when they finally got old enough where they got to choose, they chose not to do it anymore. Right. So that's what I'm saying is use this in a way where you could build a relationship with your child, not in a way where you're trying to control your child. And in the end, it creates resentment. And, so sure. I'm not saying you should allow your kid to play video games all night after every day of school, all weekend long, ignore the real world and all that stuff. That's not what I'm getting at. But they're going to do that if you don't put the extra work in as a parent. That's the bottom line. So these articles of concern, and when we come out of the pandemic, all these problems we're going to have, they're only going to exist because of the people that failed their kids. Mm-hmm. That's it. I'm sorry. We've talked about this before, from video games create violence to all these things, all relate back to a failure in a family where somebody wasn't really being, no offense. Hopefully no one takes offense, but somebody wasn't being a good dad or mom. That's all there is to it. So, I mean, I've grown up around video games my whole life and I've seen nothing but positive results because of it. And, to the point where I've seen, I see it in the medical field and believe in it and truly believe that it can help people on multiple levels, from just a casual thing to healing. So, I mean, it really comes down to how this world, be it digital or whatever, was how you were raised around it, how it was, how it was used with you and or abused. And that's what's really going to come down to it. So I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of more of these articles. We're going to see people come out of this pandemic that are literally unable to reconnect to the real world, and they're just going to spin it all into this thing of like, Zoom did this and digital media did this. This is Netflix's fault. Like, and it's not. It's just the fact that, like, you can't let somebody sit and watch The Office 100 times straight and not pay attention to the real world to the point where they believe they have a relationship with, some of the characters in the show. And then they have to have therapy afterwards because they can't talk to some of these characters because they don't exist. Like it's that thing that really is concerning me, that we're not looking at like really what could solve the problem or where that like break point is. We're just looking at like, hey, screen time, that's what's causing it. It's screen time's what's causing it. Let's just reduce the screen time, you're good. Everything will be good. Like that's not how this works. It's not going to fix it. And just like if we got rid of video games, we get rid of gun violence, gun violence would go down. No, it wouldn't.
Call of Duty and GTA.
It's stuff like that I hate seeing, and this is the next one. This is the next thing we're seeing kind of get just steamrolled, and unfortunately, I think we're going to see a lot of negative write-ups about it because of it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but we want to hear what you guys think, though. What are your thoughts on this? I know I saw in the chat JJB Cool, who is a dad, spending time with his kids. They're saying that there is a way to find balance. JJB Cool would be my example of like how you can look at this and find the positive side of it and be like, wow, I'm working from home. They're schooling from home. I'm able to spend more time with them than I've ever been able to spend with them in a 24-hour period, like, because normally I'm at work, they're at school, we come home, we're exhausted, we go to sleep, repeat, 5 days a week. So instead you have this advantage and they're using it. But I'd love to hear like what positive feelings you have about this, what concerns you have about it, maybe some challenges that have happened because of it. Share it in the Discord. Hop on over to the GameZilla Podcast channel and let us know, because we'd love to update this in a future show. And if you're willing to share your stories and you're okay with us talking about them, we'd love to hear what's going on in your life. What challenges and positive memories are you making? What's happening? So
before we move on, I think it's important that we just take a moment and reflect on the fact that this whole screen time issue, this watching streaming all day or gaming or whatever it is, it's worth you checking in on your kids, checking in on your friends, checking in on your family members to find out how they're doing, because a lot of people are using these various different things that they have access to in their home to cope, to try to balance out their anxiety or their depression or however they're feeling. It's important to remember that the human psyche is rather fragile. It's something I'm learning more and more the older I get. And people that mentally who are been rock solid, you could have known them their entire life, having people be locked up or distanced from each other, it has effects on people. So, if you're worried about your kid gaming too much, or if you're worried about your husband or wife or brother, whoever it is, gaming too much or binging too many shows or something, like, check in on them, see how they're doing. And there's just a truth that people are trying to fill holes in their lives that they've never had to figure out how to fill before, and it may be coming out in some of these behaviors. So try and check on some people, showing some love, and don't necessarily vilify them for the choices that they're making to try to get by.
Yeah, and understand too that Johnny Riot over on twitch.tv/GameZilla Media coming in saying, it's hard to manage time and energy, and then brings up the fact that he has to spend 2 hours every Monday watching 3 schmucks talk about random junk on a screen.
You could listen. You could lower your screen time and listen to the podcast.
Yeah. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, wherever you want. Just turn it on a speaker and then hang out with your family and enjoy the podcast as a family.
Yeah.
Obviously, make sure they're okay with some crude humor and swear words. But other than that, we're good to go.
Poop.
Well, we're gonna wrap up this topic, but like I said, let's continue the conversation in the Discord if you'd like to share your feelings on this topic or your experiences with this situation. I just think New York Times really just kind of focused too heavily on one thing without really talking about resolution and what could be done, and honestly, even what the true problem is, if in the sense of just communication failure. It's one thing if you are, and I don't know how it wouldn't be a kid situation here. It's one thing if you are living alone. Okay, you can't have dinner with somebody else and talk to them. You don't have that outlet. Like I can go talk to my wife, or we're talking about kids who hopefully can go talk to their mom or dad or whoever, whoever's in the household. And like that, there is that direct connection. Sure, they can't go talk to their friend. They can't hang out with their friends and they can't hang out with others, but they should have a connection. For the people that are stuck by themselves, that's definitely a challenge. At that point, those are the people that I generally worry about the most, because I know that they can interact via a screen, but there is the concern about screens, and I get it. And even me, my feet, I could have so much fun talking to so many people right now, like we are on the podcast, but then someone comes to my door and I'm instantly concerned. I'm instantly afraid, and so, that is something that I personally worry about when the day comes where they say, all right, go back to work, right? When they tell me to go back to the office, how am I going to react to that? Because right now I don't think I'll react well. And that's not because of screen time. That's because of fear of the world and everything that's going on right now, and sacrificing a year of my life to quarantine myself to stay safe, just to go throw myself back out into society when a variant of COVID-19 is starting to pop up here in the States. And I'm like, am I really going to have this year that A, I'll never forget, but B, was just one of the most difficult years I've ever had to deal with. But then just to go out because somebody told me that really doesn't know better anyways, let's be honest, they're going to sit there and say, well, it's good enough, let's give it a try. And then I get sick, right? And it's all now it's the roller coaster. Now we see what happens. And so I don't know, for me, there's more than just screen time that's going on here. I think there's just the idea of being inside of a house or being inside of an apartment or being whatever. And that has become our world for the last 12 months. And I mean, my living room is designed in a way that I never thought my living room would ever be designed, because of the way that we live now. And so then when the date comes to say, go out that door, get in your car, and every day start going somewhere else that you don't have control of, that you don't have full control of, like you do your house in a way, that's the part where my brain breaks. That's the part where I feel like a lot of people are going to have problems with being okay with it. So, what's going to happen the first time you're around someone and you're just standing there and they start coughing? Because before you'd be like, oh man, if you're sick, you better not say, I don't want to get sick, you better get away from me. As it was that chill. Now someone coughs and I'm going to literally go diving over a cubicle wall, army crawling to the other side of the building and jumping out the window from the second story, and I'm just not gonna. It's so different now. Those are the things that I think are trigger points that we're not talking about. Instead, we're going to talk about screen time.
I'm carrying a can of Lysol with me, like it's mace is right along on my keychain. As soon as somebody sneezes, I'm going.
Razer released a N95 approved mask at CES this year. It's a prototype currently. It's a concept. But it's made of recycled plastic, so you can actually see people's facial reactions, and it has an N95 filter plus it has a speaker, so that when you speak, it projects your voice. I totally want that.
Me too.
I would wear that every day of my life. because I would feel better about it, and I wouldn't care what people thought I looked like. I just would wear it.
I have to yell through like plated glass whenever I'm out with my wife because she just doesn't like get that loud. We're just trying to like order food, and the people behind the glass are getting upset, and I'm like, okay, I can handle this. This is where my skill set comes in. So the speaker, that's a good idea.
But I think that's the mask thing is still something that's going to be, at least that I'm going to adopt even after everything is back to normal when I'm sick, because it's thing and learn from Japan,
And it
when I'm sick, I'm going to start staying home.
It does.
I used to be that guy that would go to work sick.
You did.
Sorry, I was.
Yeah.
My bad.
But that's different now. You're right.
That ain't
now
me
it's
now.
different. And it does even have RGB, so you can style yourself out. All right. It's made by Razer. Of course, it has RGB on it. All right. Well, that's topic number 1. That was our big topic. Let us know what you think in the Discord. Whew. Topic number 2. Coming straight from Butterboy here. Fighting game community establishes the code of conduct following allegations and controversies. So if you haven't been following the FGC, they've established a new code of conduct, and the FGC doesn't have a governing document binding the tournaments together. The new code of conduct, signed by video game attorney and prominent FGC member David Graham, is the first to attempt to meet that standard, and the community is encouraging all tournament goers and organizers to adopt the newly written code of conduct. The guidelines are straightforward, and most violations focus on consent between individuals. Anyone who engages in abusive behavior, such as physical, verbal, emotional, suggestive, making threats, or using demeaning language, and the like, will be disciplined, likely in the form of temporary or permanent bans from online and in-person tournaments. The guidelines will be enforced by a new group within the FGC, the Code of Conduct team, and applies to all aspects of tournament organization. This includes fighting game tournaments themselves, as well as the connected aspects like chat rooms, web platforms, and broadcasts. So, the let's see, we did have a quote on this. So from Graham himself, he said that last summer's revelations proved the old system was not working. The old system, which was no system, more standardized rules needed to be implemented. Because our old system put too much pressure on individual tournament organizers to make community-wide decisions and incentivized a dogpiling type of enforcement that nobody enjoyed, having more but not exclusivity, uniform rules enforcement can avoid these problems. No, yeah. Obviously, that makes sense. So if you either aren't part of you don't care about the fighting game community, or you've just been living under a rock, there were a ton of allegations that came out recently from just awful situations that should have never happened in any scene, and really it caused the whole community, that whole area, just to kind of shut down. Mm-hmm. The events were canceled. Some of the people that were like the heads of Evo and stuff like that were just like, hey, you guys gotta go. You're gone. It's over. Your career is over, and because of it, your event's not happening. And so they watched as their entire community and their entire ecosystem just started to crumble. So somebody had to step up and do something. This sounds like the right direction and early steps, but we'll see how it all works out. Now, Butterboy, you're the one that brought this article to our attention. Do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I just would like to see more individual communities starting to try and police themselves in a way to better the way people treat each other and the way people interact. I mean, a lot of video game communities have reputations of being full of, honestly, people that are sort of low life keyboard warriors, and I would prefer that people just treat each other decently and with an ounce of respect. It's one thing to clown on your friends and joke around. It's another thing to, make death threats or say sexually inappropriate things to, other players and, or behave in person in a way that's unsavory. So having guidelines from the top level at tournaments and through official play, that smaller tournaments and things like that can adopt those policies, it's only going to allow the community to work to better itself and better the way that they are represented and the way they treat each other, and help the community grow. Your community is going to grow when it's healthy and people are treated with respect.
Yeah. Miggy, anything you want to add to that?
You're just there to play games and to win a competition. You're not there to be nasty.
Yeah, I mean,
this perverts on the internet.
I mean, it happened in the Smash community. I mean, it's like every time there's a gathering of people, somebody's got to have an ulterior motive to try and dip their beak into something. If you catch my drift, it's how come you just can't come game and do what you got to do and then dip out. Maybe holler at somebody if they strike your interest, but don't press it or use your power or whatever or influence to try and coerce someone into doing something they don't want to do, whether it's whether you're abuse or just the sexual nature. Stop it.
I mean, obviously, yes, that is the message, but I mean, if we look at video games, we look at content creation, we look at professional sports, we look at government positions. We can go look at stories of anybody that has power, and we can find someone that, because they had power, believed that they could manipulate the situation. And so, be it whatever, I mean, how many times have we heard this story time and time again? And we look at someone who's making millions of dollars that in our eyes they're living the dream, and they go and do something that we look at and we go, you are the dumbest individual I have ever met, and you literally just threw all your success away because you just couldn't do what was right. You couldn't do what that for most individuals, putting right in front of your face that says what's good, what's bad, would get it 100% of the time, being like, yeah, you do that, you never do that. And then they go and do the thing you never do. That's just it, time and time again. And so it doesn't surprise me that in any world where someone can gain stardom and a fan base, that they all of a sudden end up putting themselves in that situation of, I don't want to say where they think they're God, but where they believe they're above people, and then all of a sudden believe that they can get away with stuff, and then and whatever, using whatever tactics to maintain that control until it finally starts to crumble and fall apart. Which again, time and time again, we watch these worlds of people that have built an empire crumble. You would think that people would start to learn and say, eventually, that is not going to work, and I'm going to lose everything that I worked hard for. So I don't know. To me, it's like A, you should never want to do it, and then B, I just would look at the world and say, there's no way you're going to get away with it.
Oh, I'm smarter than that last guy. It's not going to happen to me. I'm not going to.
That's really what it comes down to. And so, I don't know. It's sad, but in all reality, when we look at the NFL, we could use the NFL as an easy league to go pick on, right? But I could go pick on golf, for God's sakes, and pick people that did some awful things in the world of golf. Okay, so it doesn't matter what you think is a dirty league or a corrupted league. They exist everywhere, unfortunately. So
there are so many perverts in the professional curling syndicate. I'm out. They're like, oh, hey, I really love to brush your hole. You know what I'm saying?
Butterboy knows, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
the maple syrup on that, eh?
Oh, yeah, your stone. I really throw your stone all day.
What I'm saying is that I think the excuses that worlds like Twitch have used, and worlds like the fighting community and the gaming community have used, where they're like, oh, well, we just didn't know what was going on, is kind of bullshit, because it goes on everywhere. So you should just assume that if it's going on over here, it's probably going on in your environment too. And you should have something in place to protect the people that need to be protected, and to find the people that need to be found so that you can remove them from your community before they do so much damage to your community that your overall brand is unrepairable. That's really it.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
So-
you'll never catch Sid Stoney Myers. I'm the bad boy of curling. They can't take me down. No.
Yeah. So good move on the fighting community standpoint and their new code of conduct. But I'm not laughing at them. I'm laughing at the Butterboy being ridiculous right now. So, but no, seriously, it's a good move. I look forward to them trying to rebuild, that community and rebuild the trust amongst its members. So hopefully they can do that and they can get some of these events back up and running and take care of it moving forward. Because last thing I want to hear is like, "Hey, we're going to do this," and then we literally have more stories come out about negative and improper things happening. So,
Sure.
all right. Topic number 3: Ubisoft is making an open world Star Wars game. So I know. So Player One Miggy seemed somewhat excited. Butterboy seemed kind of excited. I'm on the fence here. Okay, like I know I can't believe I'm saying this, but like when Ubisoft says they're gonna make an open world game, I instantly am like, oh wait a minute. I remember every other open world game you've made. I'm slightly concerned here.
Assassin's Creed.
Not me. I'm a Cyberpunk player now. My standards are rock bottom.
I'm an Elder Scrolls player. I'm a Fallout 76 player, so my standards have always been at the bottom.
I have some hope here, and for good reason. But the studio behind The Division is making a game set in a galaxy far, far away. According to a report from Wired today, Ubisoft announced that its Swedish studio Massive Entertainment is making an open-world video game that is set in the Star Wars universe. There are no details on the game, which when it will launch, on what platforms, or what slice of the Star Wars universe it will explore. The game will be built using Ubisoft's own Snowdrop engine, which is best known for the tech behind the Division series. Earlier this week, so the reason this is happening, right, because everyone's going to say, wait a minute, I thought EA was the only people that could make Star Wars games right now. Earlier this week, Disney rebranded the game division and they called it Lucasfilm Games, for what is it's described as a new era. Since then, the company announced that not only Ubisoft will be making Star Wars games, that Bethesda will also be making an Indiana Jones game, and moving forward, EA can still make games, but Lucasfilm Games will be offering its franchising to more than just an exclusive developer anymore. So EA, which was the developer behind Star Wars titles such as the Battlefront reboots, open world adventure, which calling this an open world adventure is kind of, I guess, Jedi Fallen Order is kind of an open world.
Pretty linear.
Yeah, pretty linear with like a few little open spots.
Almost no side quests.
Yeah, calling it open world seems kind of, I would just call it the adventure game Jedi Fallen Order. And of course, last year's space combat game Squadrons. Disney says the relationship will continue even as other developers work on Star Wars games as well. We're really proud of the games that we have created with EA, Lucasfilm Games VP Douglas Riley says. We will continue working with them, and our relationship has never been stronger. While we may not have a lot of details to share at the moment, we got a number of projects underway with the talented teams at EA. So, first of all, making Star Wars games being made away from EA, I'm completely good with. There are plenty of developers I would rather have make a Star Wars game for me than a group at EA.
CD Projekt Red.
We've maybe not, but we've seen the variation that we get at EA, right? From Star Wars Battlefront, and let's just say Battlefront 2, which was just a nightmare, to Jedi Fallen Order. Day and night difference as far as reception, as far as acceptance. And so Squadrons was for all in all, if you're into that style of game, great game, So, and these are all different developers. Those three I named are all different developers that were working on them. Moving back to Ubisoft now, building an open world. I mean, they are known for open world building, right? They have built the Assassin's Creed franchise into a just massive franchise. They've taken the Division and done amazing things with it, even after it was a disaster and they had to fix it. They did. So they did release Phoenix,
Immortal Phoenix Rising.
Yeah, Immortal Phoenix Rising, another open world game. I mean, they are Watch Dogs, open world game. They just make open world content as like one of their primary things. So as a group that's going to do it and using the Snowdrop engine, is an engine that has proven time and time again to be able to make very pretty environments and very impressive graphics on a scale that is so large. Okay. And the reason why I'm more positive about the Star Wars side of things is that where we've had a very buggy release of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and we had the Division, which originally launched in a nightmare situation. Division 2 having its a really good launch, I'd say, and then having some struggles and then get cleaned up. I would say that the difference here is that yes, Ubisoft has to make this game, but Lucasfilm Games has to then approve it, right? Mm-hmm. And we saw what did back before they were Lucasfilm Games, when it was just Disney. We saw what Disney said to EA when EA started screwing up Battlefront 2. They were like, "Hey, if you ever want to make another Star Wars game, fix this," right? They literally told because the fan base went so hard against EA, Disney stepped in and said, "What are you doing? We are about to take your franchise licensing away from you. You're never going to make another Star Wars game." So the advantage here is that yes, there's been some problems at Ubisoft, but I think because you're teaming up with Lucasfilm Games, you're going to have to play by their guidelines and their expectations. And I think more effort at delivering a polished product out the gate might be happening because of that. Thoughts there, Butterboy?
Well, I mean, you guys are thinking real positive. You're dreaming big. But I already know what the game's going to be. It's going to be called Far Cry. You're just going to be Chewie rolling around with a bowcaster, just murdering people in the woods on Kashyyyk. It's going to be dope. It's going to be a really cool game. I'm glad to see Far Cry go in that direction. Yeah, I'll play it. Hell yeah, I want to be Chewbacca for like 40, 50 hours, whatever it is to play a Far Cry game. Give me the game. Let's do it.
I'm hoping that Disney or Lucas has a bigger influence in with the game, especially how they're starting to, thanks to Favreau, getting favor back with the Star Wars, like the fans. With the most recent, with the recent episode of the Mandalorian. I mean, they're starting to make good traction and try to gain what they lost with the previous trilogy. But I'm hoping that they actually do something to contribute to the lore to make things make these games great. I'm hoping that they don't go with the old school Ubisoft formula. Go here, hide here, raid here, steal here, hide here. Lather, rinse, repeat. Give us something fresh and give us 1313, please.
That's not happening. That game's dead.
I know. I want to keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
Yeah, I mean, when you build an open world, I mean, I don't know, building how much of it can be canon, how much of it can just be, just a universe that you can make what you want of it, similar to like back when I played Star Wars Galaxies or whatever, right? And it was just an MMO that you just lived in the world of Star Wars and you did what you ever wanted to do. If you wanted to be a dancer at a katina, well, I can't speak right now. cantina, then you just went there and you danced for hours and hours and hours then while people ran around you. Like, you could do whatever it is you wanted to do. If you wanted to sit there and make clothes for people, you could. But at the same time, if you wanted to try to get out there and earn a bounty hunter status or become a Jedi, and do all the all those great things, you could. So like, I would love to see, when we say open world, we're not talking MMO like I'm explaining. So we are talking maybe a focus around a character, and then just like you're saying, like, could we get a Mandalorian game that's open world? Like, how, or whatever. That would be probably one of like my most like hyped up moments of my life as far as like getting a game like that. Now, obviously, they tried a bounty hunter game back in the day, didn't go over too well. But I'm saying, like, now we're coming around. We have a lot of hype around the Mandalorians. We have a lot of hype around Boba Fett. Those are some ticketed items that you could look at and say right now, that would be a hot spot. Again, like, we love the show, we love the content. Some people are saying it's their favorite Star Wars content ever made, or the best content made since the original movies. So like, making a game around that would make the most sense versus saying, okay, well, we're gonna make a game with like a brand new character and stuff like that. Which, again, Jedi Fallen Order did it, and it worked, and it was good, but it was really good. But I would love to see Ubisoft take a stab at, say, something like Mandalorian, and give us these worlds that we've had little like snippets of in the show, and let us explore it out even more.
I mean, that's cool and all that, but again, think about Chewbacca with a companion of a baby Rancor messing things up on Kashyyyk, going on a big adventure. You don't need to dream up new characters, new worlds. You don't need to. Mandalorian, it's milked. It's done. It's over.
What?
It's time to go back to Chewbacca. It's time to go back to Chewie. And it's time to experience the galaxy through Chewie's eyes.
Wow.
I mean,
just sleep on it. Sleep on it. Get back to me in the Discord tomorrow and you'd be like, Butterboy, you're right. Give me the Chewie game.
Or on the
Mando's got, Din Djarin's got his thing going on Disney Plus. Chewie, you're about to hold it down on the Xbox and the PlayStation.
Okay, but I feel you. I feel you want to go in a different direction. But how about Lando?
I'd play an open world Lando game. I'd play that.
I feel like
not as much as I play a Chewie game.
I feel like a Chewie game would never work, because I don't think I could ever sit there and, for like, say, 30-hour gameplay, listen to Chewie speak for nonstop and just read subtitles of like a.
No, they won't even subtitle it. You'll just have to know. It'll be just like when Han's like listening to him, he's like, yeah, like he always knows what Chewie's saying. It's gonna be like, there's not gonna be any subtitle. And then that way they don't even write the dialogue. And then
just left to assume.
Yeah,
that'd be an amazing stream. Like, what is he saying?
I don't know. Half the work if you have to write the dialogue. It's just like playing a Zelda game.
Why did you kill everyone in the game? I was pretty sure that Chewie was mad at everyone in the game. He was yelling at everyone.
Dude, I will pull out
everyone.
He hates losing.
Every arm from every socket. I'll get the achievement for having disarmed every person, every NPC in the game.
Butterboy shot first.
Oh my goodness. All right, well, I mean, that's all we really know about this project so far, so we'll have to wait to find out more. But it is interesting, and it is good to see that the Star Wars. I like the idea of Lucasfilm Games. I like the idea that they're kind of moving into, as they're calling it, a new era of trying to explore the gaming side of their franchises and what they can do with them. So, we've in the past we've enjoyed so many games, like I already mentioned Star Wars Galaxies, but obviously Knights of the Old Republic, and again, all the way back to me playing X-Wing, for God's sakes, on PC on a floppy drive. Like, I've loved Star Wars games, good and bad, throughout the years, and we've seen some really good products get put out recently. But I'd like to see more people have the ability to make something with that universe. So we'll see what that brings. And Ubisoft is going to be the first one to give it an attempt. Well, they're announced as the first ones to be able to give it an attempt and see what they can do with an open world. Hopefully, a true open world. That's not.
And that open world needs to be Kashyyyk.
That's not Kashyyyk and just Chewbacca, because that's going to be terrible.
Actually, it doesn't have to be Chewie. It can be a different Wookiee, but I'd prefer it to be Chewbacca.
Oh dear God!
Actually, on the real tip, you were kind of hitting it. What you were saying, Grim. Instead of being Mando, just like let you create your own bounty hunter, and then you're just going, you're getting missions from the guild and whatnot, and then going to different planets, doing these missions.
Yeah.
And then you could possibly like that, you're doing missions as side quests or whatever, but there's like an overall story like that's coming from the missions or something outside there. That would be an awesome thing. You customize your bounty hunter's armor and everything.
What if instead of a bounty hunter, you were a 9-foot tall rug carpet that was a smuggler?
All right, that was our take on the gaming news. And
for these topics and much more, please visit GameZillaMedia.com, where we have all your blogs, all your videos, all the shows, everything that we're doing is available on GameZillaMedia.com. Let's move into the Zilla update. The Zilla update, for the love of God.
He's trying to kill us.
Butterboy, what is your gaming moment of the week? Gaming moment of the week.
Instead of a gaming moment of the week, hear me out about the Chewbacca game more.
No.
So for this week in gaming, honestly, still playing a lot of Cyberpunk. I mentioned that like it was around the 10-hour point that I was like finally felt like the game was starting to open up, and now I'm actually at the 25-hour point. So it was my primary point of gaming, and I've been having a lot of fun. I'm a side quest guy, so there's a lot less of that dialogue. I wasn't really into clicking all the answering of questions at the beginning of the game. The dialogue's a lot of like rolling into dens and like murdering gang members, and that's kind of cool. So that's small update that I currently still live with the looming fear that I'm gonna have a game breaking glitch and have to just stop playing it forever. So I have a ton of individual saves, so I have a lot of points to hop back to. So yeah, that's happening. And then I guess the only other thing I really had going on is that Castlevania collection on the Switch was $5, which is 75% off. So I've just been playing some Castlevania, which just feels good. Sitting on the couch, just whipping some ghouls and stuff. Feels good.
Well, I'm every week I'm excited for this. Well, not excited. I'm concerned about this moment because I'm waiting for that ticking time bomb of Cyberpunk to just go off, and you'd be like, all right, well, it's over. The dream's dead.
It's like the opposite of the lottery, where it gets bigger and bigger and more exciting. It's like the fall is going to be greater, where I'm like, yeah, I'm 60 hours into Cyberpunk and my file deleted, and now I'm going to hang myself here on this podcast. You're like, no, I told you not to play that cursed game.
Not on the podcast. We'll get the channel ban.
Miggy, gaming moment of the week. What you got, buddy?
Scott Pilgrim versus the world.
Yeah.
I can finally put this girl away. I can put her away. This was my Scott Pilgrim box, and for those of y'all listening, I'm holding up my Xbox 360. But yeah, I've been putting a lot of time with that. I streamed it on Thursday when it dropped, but I've also purchased it on the Xbox One, on the Switch, which I've been grinding it out on, and I bought the physical from Limited Run Games. So yeah, they scarred me last time. And I'm like, never again. So I'm gonna have it physical.
I like that play, Miggy. I like that you bought 3 copies to make sure you're safe across different platforms and different media. I like that a lot.
Well, the main reason I bought it on the Switch is to play with the boys, and I have been grinding so much. Like, my character is so like strong on the Switch. Like, they hit me and that's only taking like 1 HP, and like when I hit them, like they go flying off the screen now. But yeah, just keep repeating the level.
OP, great. You're great.
Yep. So I just keep grinding out in like the level, like on the same level till I get about $500, and then I go in the store and buy upgrades. But also to go with the theme blast from the past, I started playing Final Fantasy 14, and putting out a call to Johnny Riot and Craig WK. I'm putting together a team. But it's interesting. I mean, I'm glad they they made a free version, because I was not sure. I started playing it on Friday, and I was using controller, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, I don't like this, because it's like overwhelming trying to hit this button to access this part of the map to try and do this. I did not like. I think I played it for about 2 or 3 hours, and I was like, I'm sorry, y'all, I'm not feeling it. But Sunday, I was a little more relaxed. I jumped in, created a new character, Lancer. So I was gonna turn into Dragon Knight. I'm so excited. And something told me to plug it, like see if my keyboard and mouse would work on the PlayStation. And I plugged it in there, and it's a completely different experience. I'm sitting here playing on my PS4 with the keyboard and mouse, and it's like it's perfect. So like it's got me in there. Like now I want to keep playing. Now that I'm playing with the keyboard and mouse, I want to keep playing. So we're gonna see if I can make it to the 35 level 35 mark. And if I keep going there, then I'm actually gonna buy the game and get into it. I might be a serious Final Fantasy 14 player. So brace yourselves.
This is our last episode of the podcast.
Leviathan, Johnny,
This is
Leviathan.
it.
Because Miggy is playing Final Fantasy 14, you're wrapping the show because of that, or is it because of me and Cyberpunk? Or is it because Ubisoft's about to call me and give me a job? Ubisoft's about to give me a big league job
for open world Star Wars development. Of Chewbacca.
Ubi, call me.
All the above. All the above.
Grim, I will mail you an autographed copy to my greatest friend and #1 supporter. And I'll send it to you.
See, that's why I'm worried. You didn't even make a good Chewbacca sound there. Like that just sounded like a horn. It sounded like he's underwater.
Yeah, he's drowning. You gotta have water parts of the game.
He doesn't like getting wet.
So it's like wet dog, I bet.
Yeah.
He's fine. Chewie's fine.
Oh my god. Okay, anyways, my gaming moment of the week is not doing anything that these guys have done. That's my gaming moment of the week.
Sorry for you.
Yeah. I played Final Fantasy 14. I know what you're in for. The fact that you get to play with keyboard and mouse is that definitely going to help you for sure. Because I played with controller, and that's what eventually killed me. No.
Yeah, exactly.
As far as gaming moment of the week, I was too busy listening to your guys' answers, but my gaming moment of the week had to be Saturday. Last Saturday was really cool. We did our second ever community Warzone custom matches. So myself, Snow Foxy, Orange Croc, and Sudi this time for the first time all came together, brought their communities together, and we for 6 hours played custom Warzone lobbies. So if you're not familiar with what that is, that means it's Warzone, but it's like a closed server. It's just people that join from our communities. So everybody that you're playing against, you probably know. So every time you're getting a kill, you're like, oh yeah, I was super large, suck it, and then every time you die, you're screaming and getting mad at whoever just, Migra, who just sniped you in the head. So it was a lot of fun. Obviously we had a lot, the communities were amazing. Everybody was having a good time, and it's just a whole, it kind of feels like back in the day when you would like get your buddies over and you'd play like, I don't know, 007, GoldenEye 007 or like an old like Halo party, when people would bring their original Xboxes over. It's like that, except bigger scale, and just everybody having a big party and having fun. So that was my gaming moment of the week. A big thank you to Snow Foxy, Orange Croc, and Sudi for bringing their communities along. And we filled, like, you have to have 24 people at least to even launch a room. We launched rooms for 6 hours straight of 30 plus people, sometimes 40, and just had a really good time, and so we had people that were first time Warzone players, and we had people that have 150 wins, and the best part was like we had different groups winning a lot of rounds, which was, it allowed people to have fun and not feel like people were just dying over and over again or anything like that. So it was good.
See, I refuse to join in anything of that because you said Migra, and I don't feel like getting my feelings hurt or
you
crying.
Even the best there. he wasn't even the best there. He actually didn't show up until like 5 hours in. So you could have the first 5 hours migrant free.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was fun. I would just I'd go into the lobby and you have like squads, right? And so I just throw myself into a squad, and the first two, we were doing trios. Sorry. So the first two people that would join into my group, that was my team. And then they would just jump into my Discord and we do a round. And the next round, I do that again. And so I got to play with a bunch of different people, have conversations with a bunch of different people. It was just a good time. So
Nice.
Yeah. Those are our gaming moments of the week. We want to know what your gaming moments are of the week, and you can let us know in the Discord. So hop in the Discord today. If you are listening to this show and not watching it live on twitch.tv/GameZilla Media, then hop on over to the website, GameZilla.com, click on the community tab, and join the Discord right there. So come talk to us in the GameZilla Podcast channel, or maybe get into any of the other channels that are part of the server, and let us know what you're up to. What's your gaming moment of the week? What are you looking forward to here next week? And just have fun talking about video games with a bunch of nerds. All right. Well, that's all I have. So, Butterboy, you wanna close us out?
Yeah, let me lay it down for you. If you enjoyed what we put together for you here on the GameZilla Podcast, either at Twitch or you're listening to us Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, wherever you're listening to us, we appreciate you listening to us there. Continue to tell your friends and spread the word of GameZilla. But we have other awesome shows you can listen to in all the same places you listen to this show, including the Last Action Podcast. They're kicking off their year of sequels. They're doing all sequel movies for the year 2021, covering sequels to movies that they've already covered on the show. RoboCop 2 was the show this week. That's one that hits home for us, as we're all Southeast Michigan boys, and RoboCop is Detroit's greatest hero. I'm not afraid to say that. So Last Action Podcast, all things action movies, get that a listen. Legend or Retro Gaming Podcast. I have to recommend, they recently did a very fun show about Mega Man 8. You want to give that one a listen. And Noobs and Dragons, that's our storytelling tabletop Dungeons and Dragons podcast. You will laugh, you will wince with pain based on their decisions, and you will go on an adventure. So please give all of those a listen. They're all available for you. Also, GameZillaMedia.com. And have to one more time thank all of our patrons for supporting us. Patreon.com/GameZilla Media. Your patronage is greatly appreciated. If you, again, enjoyed this show and want to throw a buck or a few bucks our way, please consider joining and enjoying all the exclusive perks. And a big shout out to someone up their patronage during the show tonight. Super Lars, thank you so much for hopping up to that exclusive content level. We appreciate you. We appreciate it. And hopefully you will enjoy all the bonus shows.
Absolutely. So thanks again to all our patrons and Super Lars. Thank you for that increase. Let's go ahead. This has been episode 343 of the GameZilla Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. And remember, we are your elite free DLC for all your gaming news. And until next time,
Game on.
Game on.
Game on.